They are accusing Democrats of saying we spend too much. For anyone that wants to entertain that thought, I ask you to think about the last time a person has said in this country that the government does too much for them, that their Social Security check was too high, that teachers are paid too much. When was the last time anyone has heard or seen that?
When Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez rose to speak in Congress, she brought her signature fire, emotional appeals, charged rhetoric, and a passionate defense of the working class. Her voice echoed through the chamber as she painted capitalism as a system rigged for the wealthy. Leaving ordinary Americans behind, it was classic AOC, bold, defiant, and designed for viral clips. But inside the chamber, the reaction was different. Her emotion met a wall of skepticism, and the air shifted. Then came Chip Roy, calm, composed, and laser-focused. He didn't match her fire, he dismantled it. Roy reminded everyone that government expansion doesn't solve America's problems, it multiplies them. He pointed to spiraling national debt, bloated federal agencies, and an IRS that audits the poor more than the powerful. His message was simple but cutting. The last thing struggling Americans need is more government control. That I end that moment. Passion met principle, and the room knew it.
Another quote. President Biden already lowered the deficit by $1.7 trillion. They say his budget would cut the deficit by another $3 trillion by eliminating wasteful spending on big oil and pharma, we're told. But it is in fact our Democratic colleagues who prefer to maintain their massive subsidies for the elites and the wealthy in their so-called Inflation Reduction Act just last year. My friend from New York, Ms. Ocasio-Cortez, said, quote, I ask you, think about the last time a person has said in this country that the government does too much for them. When was the last time anyone has heard or seen that? I'll say it. I'll say it right here. I don't want the government doing most of the things that the government is doing to interfere with the ability of the American people to carry out their lives. Federal, state, and local. When was the last time you had a bureaucrat show up and you said, oh joy, thank you. I'm really glad there's a bureaucrat here.
Roy didn't just respond. He turned AOC's words against her. With calm precision, he asked a question that cut through the noise. When have Americans ever been happy about government intrusion? Then he started listing examples, not in theory, but in truth. Families crushed under endless regulations, ranchers fined for defending their own land, parents labeled and targeted simply for standing up for their children. Each example painted the same picture: a government that's grown too big, too intrusive, and too distant from the people it claims to serve. Then Roy shifted from emotion to economics. He laid out the staggering reality: a $32 trillion national debt, nearly $100,000 owed by every man, woman, and child in America. And he asked the question AOC never touched: who really benefits from all this spending? Roy's argument was as sharp as it was sobering. Freedom versus bureaucracy. Accountability versus excess. By grounding his words in numbers and lived reality, he stripped away the emotional sheen of AOC's rhetoric and exposed the fragility of her vision. A vision built on spending without consequence.
When was the last time you were thankful for $32 trillion in debt, $100,000 almost for every man, woman, and child in America? Anybody thankful for $32 trillion in debt? Anybody? Anybody thankful for a border that's wide open being exploited by cartels while fentanyl comes in and kills our children? Everybody thankful for that Department of Homeland Security that doesn't actually secure the homeland? Everybody thankful for an FBI that went after Scott Smith and labeled him a domestic terrorist for daring to defend his daughter in a school board meeting because she was assaulted in a bathroom? Anybody thankful for the IRS knocking on your door, auditing the poor and the minorities 3 to 5 times more? People thankful for that? Are you thankful for the EPA or the Department of Interior that sent a man to prison because he had some ponds on his ranch in Montana? We have a government that is weaponized against the American people and is undermining our liberties, and they want more of it.
Roy then shifted focus to the border, an issue Democrats once wielded as their rallying cry. He reminded the chamber that the cages everyone condemned under Donald Trump were first built under Barack Obama, and under Joe Biden, they're larger, more crowded, and more ignored than ever. Roy didn't mince words. He challenged his colleagues directly. If you care about compassion, go see the facilities yourself. Don't just post filtered photos for political gain. The pivot was sharp and devastating. It laid bare the hypocrisy of outrage that only appears when the other party's in power. Then came Senator Ted Cruz, stepping into the debate with the precision of a prosecutor. His tone was colder, more surgical. Cruz outlined how the Biden administration's rollback of border enforcement has led to record crossings, overwhelmed agents, and children once again packed into holding centers. And with one pointed reminder, he turned the chamber's attention back to AOC. She once stood before cameras, tears in her eyes, condemning what she called cruelty. But where is that outrage now? The message was unmistakable. Selective outrage has consequences, and the border crisis, once political theater, has become a national failure.
My colleagues on the other side of the aisle want more government. They want more taxes. They want more spending. They want more bureaucrats knocking on your door.
I'll tell you, I've been to the border. I've been to the Biden cages. For 4 years, Democrats went on and on and on. The corrupt corporate media went on and on and on about kids in cages. You couldn't turn on the evening news without hearing kids in cages. What they didn't tell you is Barack Obama built those cages, and today under Joe Biden, the cages are bigger and they're more full than they were before. Mr. President, every Democrat who stood up and lamented kids in cages in the House of Representatives, Representative Ocasio-Cortez has a famous photo of her grasping her head by the kids in cages. Well, I'm going to give a simple challenge for Representative Ocasio-Cortez and for every Democrat in this body. Go see the Biden cages with your own eyes.
Cruz then zeroed in on AOC's broader ideology. Dismantling it piece by piece, he argued that capitalism isn't America's problem. It's the engine of its success, the same system that has lifted billions worldwide out of poverty and rewarded innovation, hard work, and vision. Then came the contrast. Socialism, Cruz said, doesn't lift people up, it levels them down. He warned that the policies AOC champions, from the Green New Deal to sweeping welfare expansions, would cost jobs, raise prices, and deepen dependence on foreign energy. The choice, he said, was stark, prosperity or decline. But Cruz didn't stop at policy. He turned the spotlight on AOC herself. Her actions, her brand, and her contradictions denoted how she denounces billionaires and corporate greed while simultaneously building a personal empire through branded merchandise and viral influence. Preaching socialism while profiting from capitalism, Cruz remarked, isn't activism, it's marketing. That line hit hard in one stroke. He stripped her argument down to a matter not of ideology, but credibility. By the time he finished, the chamber was no longer debating economics. It was questioning authenticity.
I've seen them, the Donna tent facility with over 4,000 people, with little boys and little girls on top of each other. Just a couple of weeks ago when I was in the Rio Grande Valley, the rate of COVID positivity in the Biden cages was over 22%. And all the Democrats who talked about this, if they don't go, if they don't denounce the Biden cages, then they're telling you that they're hypocrites, that they didn't believe it when they said it, that they didn't care about it when they said it, that it was all politics. It wasn't about their kids. Why does Joe Biden refuse to go to the Rio Grande Valley? Because if he goes, the TV cameras will come with him. Why does Kamala Harris, who's supposed to be the border czar, she's supposed to be in charge of this, why won't she go to the Rio Grande Valley? Because if she went, the TV cameras would come and would show the Biden cages. And the Democrats are counting on the corrupt corporate media to suddenly say, nothing to see here.
Perhaps Cruz's strongest moment came when he reminded the chamber that America's Constitution is not a document for revision by radicals. He emphasized that free speech, limited government, and individual liberty are not partisan talking points. They are timeless foundations that safeguard the republic itself. That moment, the debate rose above politics.